All right, what's up, everyone? To another video, Full Speed Impulse, and you already know by the title, we picked up another dirt bike. We know we sold the XR100, and we picked up a different bike, so we want to get ready for our trip, so we have to go through this bike, make sure she's good to go. But let's go over the bike. First reviews on the Klx230R. Let's get at it. Dang, there she is, boys. Picked up a 2020 Klx230R. This thing is super clean. Now, we didn't plan on getting a KLX. We originally had, I think it's like a CRF 230 lined up. That one was going to be a project, but ended up not coming through. Then our budget was set at $2,500 because our trip's coming up quick. We didn't want to spend a lot of money. Looking at the TTR 230s, and we had some lined up, and we just kept on putting out like different messages. We put a message out to this guy. He was asking $3,000 for it, which actually was an excellent deal. And we even told him that, like, dude, you know, $3,000 is a really fair, reasonable price for this. We were kind of at 25. He said, dude, we want 3. I said, no biggie, dude. But if you come down from 3 just a little bit, we'll meet you. No hassle. We're not going to tire kick you. We're not going to get there and like try point out problems, get you under what we agree on. So we ended up agreeing on $2,800 for this thing, which in my opinion was absolute steal. And when we're looking at TTRs, those things are carbureted. Didn't even know that Cowie was doing the fuel injected on these things already. This bike here is stock with 19 horsepower, fuel injection, 6-speed. Has a couple things to it. The back spokes, a couple of them were loose. We tightened them up. We got to get a new chain for this thing. We're going to got new handlebars coming with some grips and all that. We're not going to get too crazy on upgrades right off the bat because we want to see if we even like this thing. This might not be the bike for us, but I think it is. And let's talk a little bit about it. So when we were looking at these bikes between the TTR 230 and the Cowie 230, we kind of were actually leaning towards the TTR just because we haven't really done a TTR build on our stuff. We've been really stuck on some Hondas and Cowies. But you know, the TTR also is a lot lighter. It's like 30 pounds lighter than this bike here. But again, we didn't know it was carbureted versus the fuel injection. That's kind of a big thing. Now, does it cost more to do mods on a fuel injection? Yes. But there is a site that I can't think off the top of my head that supports a lot of mods on this bike, which will come to another thing we're going to talk about real quick. But either way, the Cowie actually has great supported mods for suspension, the tuner, exhaust, all your knickknacks that you need. And the one thing you got to make sure you're doing, if you're even considering a bike like this, is don't compare it to your race bikes, being your 250s and your 450s and all that. Even though the displacement is only a little bit off from a 250 race bike, it is a completely different bike. This bike is a trail bike. And what you should be really comparing a bike like this to, is what we did, is that we have the KLX 140L, and then you can bump up to the KLX 140G, and then I forgot what the brand new models are, or the newer models, the rate, but either way, it's a big wheel, 21 in the front, 18 in the rear. This bike here has almost double the horsepower. Stock 140 is like 10 horsepower. Oh, this is 19 horsepower. Now, they are heavier, but you get a lot more suspension travel and all that. So comparing this to what your 140Gs would be, your big wheels, this is going to be a win, guys. I think this bike is going to do super awesome. Now, if you're going to the track and all that stuff, this bike isn't for you. That's for sure. You're going to want that 250 or that 450 or something that's a little bit more aggressive. But this bike here is going to be great for the trails. And I think the smooth power band, the suspension, still it's a little bit on the heavier side, but the fact that we can still put our feet down flat is a big win. It's going to help us manhandle the bike on some of those steep slopes, going through rocks and all that. Be able to put our feet down and kind of push the bike around where we need it to be. It's kind of what we've always focused on. We're not a professional rider, but we're not a beginner rider by any means either. So I think this bike here, we're just going to be able to rip it, use the full power of the bike, and just have a really good time. Woo! And I tell you, the video might be a little shaky because it's getting cold out. It's cold today. But stock bars on this thing actually isn't the worst. Like, I could actually manage that on a trip. That's not a big deal. Also, we do got a light bar coming. Stock exhaust. And one of the actually issues with these bikes is that it has a auto like idle adjustment. So you can't touch the idle. So which kind of gives it like an infrequent, like not steady idle because it's always like adjusting. So that's kind of annoying. But they do make an upgrade that we can put a manual idle adjustment in there, which we will end up doing after the trip. Right now, our goal is, because it's coming up so quick, is just get this bike ready for a trip. Nice thing is it's got good tires on it at least. Even though you can see how the tires already started to wear on this side and cup. Technically, if we were really beating it up, we flip this tire around and get that straight edge and get our traction back. It's got a brand new front tire on there, so that's cool. And the idle on these things, dude, is wild. Like, I'm not even going to show in this whole video because it would be like 3 minutes long. But it takes minutes for this thing to get off of the cold choke or whatever you want to call it. Where do you start? Stock exhaust for now, guys. We're going to talk about that here in 1 minute. But, I mean, she's crisp. She fires right up. She sounds good. Motors. She purrs. But yeah, I don't think we did bad at all, guys. I mean, this guy took care of this bike. No levers are bent. Wheels spin straight on this thing. Suspension feels really good. A lot tighter than the 140. I think she's finally coming down. Oh, there she goes. Came off choke. So, and once it warms up a little bit more, that goes away. But that's why we need that manual adjustment. And I think once we start doing some mods this thing, that'll clean up. But one more thing too is I would almost guess that this guy was probably running 87 octane in here. And I could be wrong, but it kind of smells like 87 octane. And the fuel could be old in it. He said he hadn't ran the bike in a while, but we've talked about this before as far as you can richen your setup through a higher octane. So maybe if we pump this fuel out of this thing and put premium, I don't have any 110 on me, or I'd splash maybe a little 110, but we could make it run richer, which would make the idle drop down a little bit maybe. We're going to mess with that maybe in the next video and see if we can help that out. But let's talk about that exhaust. So this company that makes all these supporting mods for this bike is from like Indonesia or something like that, out of country, okay? And I want to support them. I'm looking at their exhaust for this place. I'm looking at their exhaust. There's not a lot of options for exhaust. And it does look pretty awesome. And it's titanium. So we're going to start saving weight. Now that we're on a heavier bike like this, and we're looking at the power to weight ratio, obviously we're dropping weight ourselves to make this bike most capable, but making that bike feel light so it feels a little bit more maneuverable and just kind of throw around. We are going to look at mods that are lightening up the bike, but the exhaust is all titanium, like I said, and it looks really good. But you know we're loyal to Pro Circuit. We have plenty of our bikes with Pro Circuit exhaust made in USA. It's like, so do we stick with Pro Circuit, support that good old made USA, support the jobs in our country? Or do we support the company that is producing all these sweet aftermarket mods? Because there's a lot of in-house, as far as in-country, that don't have any mods for this thing. So it's all out of country. So I don't know if it's bike just more popular in different countries or what the reasoning of that is, but I'm kind of like in a crossroads here on what exhaust we should get. And the out-of-the-country exhaust looks super good. We actually went with some blue handlebars to mix up the color scheme on this thing. And that exhaust is blue with the carbon tip. Kind of looks like an FMF pretty much. So the Pro Circuit is kind of standard. It's going to be stainless steel. It's going to be heavier. It'll probably be still lighter than your stock exhaust, but we are looking to save some good weight. So kind of thinking what you guys think we should do on that. Or if you've ran either exhaust. I know what a Pro Circuit sounds like. It's going to sound good. But I never heard this other one before. So, I don't know. But that's some of our, just like our first impressions on this bike. Just going over it. I'm 5'10", and I could just put my feet on the ground. And they do make a lowering link, too. I guess on the 2025, they actually did a different chassis. Actually, it looked like 2023, but on the reviews on 2025, they kind of messed with the chassis a little bit, made the seat actually, it's a little bit thicker, but it's settled into the bike more, giving you a more secure feel on the bike. So that's kind of cool. And the handlebars are a little higher on the new bikes too. But obviously we're ready to pay that new bike price. So here we are with a 2020. So, and then I think this is going to be a great trail bike if you are just starting out. I think my boy is going to end up on a 230 or maybe a Honda 250F, which is the equivalent to this bike here. They all run about the same. The Honda 250F has a couple more horsepower. They're all about the same in weight. The only thing that comes is the TTR is definitely lighter. Actually, I think the Honda and the TTR are pretty close. So, all around, probably going to come up to the rider in the end, but we are super pumped. We are taking this out to West Virginia, Hatfield McCoy's. We needed a bigger bike. The 140L has done us great, and we plan on still ripping that, but we need a bigger bike for these bigger trips. Oh, and the only other thing was wrong with the bike is that this shifter's cooked. Guessing that bolt probably got loose at one point, and then he stripped the threads out in there. Then he tried tightening it, but it was just already gone by then. But that's no big deal. We went to the dealership, got one on order. It's coming our way. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you right now. I don't want to speak too much more about the bike when I've barely ridden it, except for in the backyard. But we got some mods coming. We're going to start doing some stuff with this bike. Then we're going to hit our trip, and you'll be able to see some live footage of us going out to West Virginia with this thing, which is going to be super awesome. And hopefully, my buddy is supposed to be picking up a TTR 230, so we'll be doing some side-by-side comparison and just seeing which bike really gets it done. So after that, we'll be doing upgrades throughout the winter time and all that. And there's a lot of upgrades, like I said, between upgrading the suspension, the exhaust, the deleting some stuff, the lightening the bike up. There's even a big bore for this thing, a 300. That's a good bump up in size. We don't plan on hitting that anytime soon because we want to do some of the other supporting mods and then slowly roll into it. But we also want to make sure that this is the bike for us because this will be a bike that's going to be going on a lot more of our trips. So I appreciate you guys watching, and you guys know the deal. Until next time, we'll see you later.